Welcome back, everyone. And today we're going to go ahead and continue on in our Intro to Reduce series, and we'll actually build Reduce. So let's get into it, and hopefully I can learn you something today. So let's just take a second and look at how we use Reduce already, right? So we need an array and a reducing function. Now, some people refer to this as a reducer. Just for consistency's sake, I'm going to keep referring to it as a reducing function. I think it's explicit and kind of tells you exactly what it is. And finally, we're going to have some accumulator. So we want something like this, right? This is our API that we want to expose to whoever's going to use this function, including ourselves, with the option to be able to accept more parameters like the element, the index of the current element, and then the array that you're working on in the function. So let's compare the usage, right? The top here, we're kind of using this, we're using this dot chain syntax, the method on the array prototype. And in the bottom is our function, which we haven't written yet, but notice that the order of the things being passed into the function here is slightly different, right? I actually prefer the top. I think dot chain syntax is a little bit easier to read. It's more comprehensible for me. The left to right stuff, it kind of helps. So let's go ahead and build it. But I encourage you to pause the video here and see if you can scaffold this out by yourself. Don't get too frustrated, but just try it yourself. And if you can't, that's okay. Or if you just want to skip ahead, that's fine. We'll go ahead and do it together. But I'll give you a second to go ahead and do that now. Okay, let's go ahead and do this together. So first, we have to, we have this array we're working on, right? So we have to go through the array somehow, and we have to move through it. And whenever I think about like moving through something or traversing, automatically in my mind I think of one of two things: either iterating or looping, or recursion, right? So I'm choosing to use a loop here just because it's kind of easier to do, and we'll handle recursion at some other point. But we're just going to use this for each method on the array to make it nice and pretty, I guess. We're going to move through the array, and we're going to build the new accumulator every single time. And remember, that is the job of the reducing function, right? Is to return the new accumulator. And the reducing function takes the accumulator, the current accumulated value, and it takes the current item that we're on in the array. And then optionally, we're going to pass this in every single time, but it'll be the index of the current item and then the array itself so that they can use that. And we're just going to reassign the accumulator every single time in this loop. So I'm not a big fan of mutation, but this is such a simple example and it's scoped to this function. So I think it's actually okay, and I'm fine with it. But then, we just return the accumulator. It's actually pretty simple if you think about it. We've been building this accumulator up in the loop, and by running the reducing function on it, and then we just return it at the end of the function. So let's go ahead and use it. We have our reducing function, and remember, if you're a bit confused, the add function we've said in other videos is a reducing function, right? The reducing function's job is to take a current value and a next value and smash them together, right? So the reduce function takes the reduce function, takes that reducing function, and then the initial value for the as the accumulator, and then the array, and then we finally get our answer. Okay, so we can also build this recursively, but we'll do that in another video. I didn't want to assume that you all understand recursion. It's not too difficult. It's just, most of you have probably seen a loop, so we're going to use that. Let's look at some other examples real quick. So we could use our reduce function for flattening arrays, one level deep. We could use it to, create or implement a, kind of naive join for strings. And then this kind of like, example down here where we're keeping elements with an even index, which we actually will use the index of the current item that we're on, right? So that's an example of maybe why you would want to do that. And that's it, really. I mean, there's not much to it. It might seem like there was more going on under the hood, but it really is just moving through the array using that reducing function that someone else passes in. You have to remember that they're going to define the notion of smashing the elements together. They know how to do that. Your job is just to run that function over every element and the accumulator and just return what you get at the end. So that's it. So hopefully you learned something and it kind of gave you an intuition for what was happening underneath the hood. If I was able to help, then hopefully you guys would like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. But I did want to bring something else up real quick before we go, and that is I'm using this codesurfer package. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. But if you guys get a chance, go tweet at that guy. This is awesome. And if you like the new format, just let me know and leave me a comment down below. So, okay, I guess that's it, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks.